Hi everyone. I first of all want to apologize. I went on missing for the past few weeks for a lot of reasons, and because I promised I would be making a lot of entrepreneurship videos with a 10-minute video format. I want to apologize, and I brought in a special guest for that. Hopefully, this cute teddy cat will make up for it. But anyway, let's dive deep into a very important topic for me because I went through two programs in my entrepreneurship journey so far. Two very unique incubators. One is called Entrepreneur First, and the other is called Antler. You may or may not have heard about it, but I will try to explain what these programs and incubators are about. But first of all, let me give you a bit of context. I went through Entrepreneur First in Singapore in 2019, and Antler, I went through it in 2023 in Lisbon, in Portugal. Also, one thing to note, sorry, both programs have been shut down in these locations. I will explain some of the reasons, maybe why, if we have time. Anyway, the way this session is gonna go, let's try to keep it very short. Let's discuss about the model, because I often get the question about how does it run inside. Then we will discuss about the benefits of these programs. We will discuss about the limits, because there are some limits, obviously, and maybe in between I will try to explain the main differences of these programs. So let's explain quickly how it works. Let's imagine you're right now an entrepreneur or want to start your entrepreneurship journey. You don't have any idea, you don't have a co-founder. Well, these are the perfect places for you, in my opinion, because you get there, you find maybe around between 50 and 100 people who have been shortlisted and selected by the teams itself, and you have basically 3 months to form teams of two, three, or four. I think depending on the program, they're not all very flexible on the number of co-founders, and you have 3 months to find a problem, tackle it by building a sort of MVP, let's say, or a bug that will give you a bit of traction. And depending on this traction, the team dynamics, then you go through an investment committee. And if your team and your market are strong enough and interesting enough to invest in, they will invest in your team and your project. And then you are on for another 3 months of acceleration. And this is the second phase. This acceleration phase will help you validate, I would say, the problem you're tackling. And at the end of the 3 months of acceleration phase, you get to actually pitch your idea in front of a lot of VCs. For me, I didn't really have the chance to go until that step in Antler, but I got the chance to do it at Entrepreneur First. And after these 3 months, obviously, you raise funds and then you're on to your journey. So let's discuss a little bit more maybe about the benefits of the model. In my opinion, it's very simple. You might, get a funding of around 80,000 euros for 10% equity. It might change depending on the location. Maybe now it's 90,000 euros in Paris for 10% equity. Sometimes you can complain about the 10%, but in my opinion, you arrive there, you don't have an idea, you don't have a co-founder. You live with an idea, co-founder, a product, and a kickstart, a good kickstart, to your entrepreneurship journey. Is it worth 10%? We can debate it, but for me, it's worth it. Second thing you get is also a safety net, because even if you don't make it to the investment committee, you have what we call a stipend. So it's some kind of, not really salary, but you can get between 1,000 and 3,000 euros a month, depending on the location. So if you are still afraid of leaving your very comfortable zone, comfortable job right now, and are not, I would say, don't have a very big safety net of money, pool of money aside, it could be, worth it, in my opinion, to go into these programs and get this, and at least get, this stipend to kickstart your journey. Also, what you get is a lot of help and mentorship from experienced entrepreneurs. Most of the teams usually were previously entrepreneurs who have started companies, maybe sold them, were acquired. You get also a lot of mentors who have probably, exited companies, and this is very valuable in your, not only in your network, but also, in your entrepreneurship journey. And also you get what I call an emulation of community, being surrounded by these very high hustling people. It gives you like a lot of energy and gives you a lot of willingness to push forward, because not really in competition, because you're not all going for the same market and same problem. but you want to do better than them. You want to have more clients. You want to have a bigger impact, and sometimes give you. It's like when you run a marathon alone versus running it in front of or with 50,000 people. It's always different. You give your I feel like you give your best when you're surrounded by this type of hustlers. And to be honest, I actually still gather and meet most of my cohorts, either from Entrepreneur First or Antler. So you might make also entrepreneur friends for life from these programs. So yeah, enough said about the benefits of the program. I think you know now why you should be joining these programs, in my opinion. Now there's obviously some limits. First of all, I always give this analogy, but take it with a pinch of salt. It's like getting married and having a baby in 3 months. I've seen a lot of startups where the first 3 months were a honeymoon, everything went well. Once you raise some money, then some friction starts in the couple and the co-founding team, and that's when the difficulty really arises. And you need to be aware of this. You're already starting a company with someone you barely know. You might have some data from LinkedIn about this person, some historical uh, knowledge or past from this person, but it's not like you have known each other for 10 years. And actually, some VCs we discussed with, we talked to, I remember, told us they were not investing because after the 6 months phase, they need more data, they need more time because they know that some of these teams are more likely to break up rather than other teams who have known each other for 10 years, for example. So you really need to be aware of this, the limits of in the model itself, the way it's built, and how you can also raise money afterwards because some VCs are sometimes a little bit scared about this type of model. Another limit that might not be a very big one, but you are very likely to relocate. As I said, Entrepreneur First is running only in 4 cities in the world. So you might have to relocate into any of these cities if you are really motivated about it. I think Enter has definitely more locations, but a lot of them are also closing. They are running in some kind of startup mode. They start a location, and if it doesn't take off, then they just shut it down very quickly. So yeah, this is something also to take into consideration, in my opinion. And last but not least, so we have discussed about the model, the benefits, the limits. Now the main differences, of course, there are some differences. Why go for the first? I mean, why go to Entrepreneur First and not Antler, or why go to Antler and not Entrepreneur First? For me, it depends on the kind of project you want to build. Entrepreneur First is very deep tech oriented, and actually you will very likely, if it's still the same, find yourself surrounded by PhDs. I remember I was one of the few technical person without a PhD, and I really felt off, compared to everyone in there. But there is a reason. It's because Entrepreneur First is really trying to invest in high intellectual property companies that can really build a moat around that. Versus Antler was kind of open, definitely more flexible. So if you are more of an execution team, like I don't know, some kind of Rocket Internet. So Rocket Internet would take something that works well in the US, copy it, and put it in I don't know, start it in Brazil or in South Africa or in Nigeria or in Southeast Asia. And this is the type of model I think you can really start with Antler. Take something that works, doesn't have maybe a big intellectual property, but the fastness and speed and the execution matters most. Um, so it's very different models. I mean, as long as it's legal, you can open basically something you can build whatever you want, I think, in Antler. In EF, you might not be funded if what you're going for is limited in terms of technological mode. This is something to note. I don't know if it has changed once again. Better to ask people who went through these programs if you're really willing to take the chance. But yeah, that's pretty much all I would say about these programs. If you have any other question, you can definitely drop a comment in there. From my personal experience, if you are a first-time founder, I think these programs are really worth a shot. If you are uh, building another company again, and I mean, if you have already had your own experience, it's always, of course, better to build with someone you know, and that's why, personally, for me, don't think I see myself going through these kind of programs again. I'd rather build with people I either worked with or I try to avoid friends I've known because I don't know how they work. I've never worked together. I try to to actually check out with friends, sorry, with colleagues or people I've met in programs and had the chance to build a strong relationships along the way. So it's always, very nuanced. But for me, I don't think I will go through it again. But if you are really don't have any co-founder and don't have an idea yet, these programs might be for you. So anyway, if you have other questions, feel free to drop a message. More than happy to answer any comment or any question, and also give some feedbacks about this format. I will try to make more videos moving forward. Anyway, cheers everyone, and I hope our special guest was not too bothered with this talk.